Hey everyone, we're finally back at it at our new location, and so I thought for the new location, this is a pair we have to save. It was dropped off by a buddy of ours at the old one, but we thought this one would be great to start off the videos here where we're at now. This is a pair, as you can tell, it's a pair of Allen Edmonds, but it's one of the 100th anniversary Allen Edmonds. Obviously they are brand new, so stop blowing up the comments section talking about why would you resell a pair of brand new ones. If somebody wants something special done or specific, we'll go ahead and take care of it and do that for them, so don't be complaining. But if you're interested in seeing what's going on with these 100th anniversaries internally and how they're put together and everything, and see what kind of upgrades we're doing for them, definitely check out this video, and let's get started with the unboxing and getting them going. And thank you for joining us. So now let's go ahead and unbox these. These are the Strand and the Hickory color, the 100th anniversary Allen Edmonds. Now obviously I've seen them already and everything, but I guess the suspense for everyone. Love that burnishing and the color there. Definitely nice. Now, one thing I'd like to point out to some of you, especially if you got a pair of the 100th anniversaries like this, you may find some of this little small fraying here. A lot of times that's actually from the bag here. That's just like lint and everything. So don't freak out about it. It's nothing too major, nothing too crazy going on. You might find it on the heels here and there and stuff. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and break these down and everything and put on a dedicated set of JR soles for these. Obviously we have to have dedicated ones now because JR isn't going to be available for a little while since the company closed down, and the new company that took over the recipe doesn't have too many available quite yet. But yeah, pretty nice color. So let me get this box out of the way and we'll continue on. All right, so I don't really come across any kind of major issues and stuff, but I know that some people are going to be very particular, very picky about certain little things here and there. One of the ones we see a lot of, see right there, right where that welt connection is, a little split there. Maybe you can see part of the darker area. That's what's called a welt split. That's where the the welt joint, sorry, that's where the two ends of the welt kind of connect and everything. They can either overlap a little bit, they can bump right into each other, but it's a connection point. A lot of people are complaining about it, saying like, oh, there's too much of a gap or something like that. Too much of a gap is going to be if it's about 1/8 of an inch or more where the material isn't reaching. Anything less than 1/8 of an inch, you're still fine. Plus they put it in an area kind of towards the back here on the inside of the shoe right here, so it's not going to be structurally falling apart or anything, and it's not going to cause any kind of major issues or problems. So I don't want to hear any kind of complaints from anybody ever about that kind of stuff. Now if you have a little bit more of a severe gap, definitely contact the companies. It doesn't matter which brand it is. Found a little loose strand, so I gotta make sure I clip that there. But yeah, I wanted to point that out, especially with the brand new pair and everything. There is this little bit of a fold here with the leather and stuff. Now it's nothing major, again, nothing structural. There's just a little weird spot here, just all sorts of stuff that I see people always complaining about that isn't really a major issue. Maybe some kind of coloring, like oh, my welt is discolored a little bit on an edge or something like that. Come on, some of you guys need to stop that kind of stuff. Obviously with the burnished look, that means it's got that kind of burnt look. They're not going to match. You can possibly see right here that they're slightly different, maybe on camera. I don't know how it's shown. There's the left foot, there's the right foot, so they're ever so slightly different, but that's actually normal. You can't be picky when it comes to leather shoes, especially when they've got a patina, a kind of burnt look to them or something. They're gonna have some discoloration and things that don't quite match up between the two mates. I still remember back in the day we used to sell footwear when we were at a completely different location where my parents used to run the store. Carried a brand called Dansko. A lot of people may know about them, and they had this one model that had the confetti that you color, they called it, and it literally looked like somebody took that confetti spray and just sprayed it all over, or silly string, I guess you can call it, and the mates never matched up. They weren't supposed to. That was the whole point of them. And there were people out there that tried complaining about that, but it was kind of the point of the shoe that it didn't match up. So just wanted to point that out. That's the whole aesthetics of it. But anyways, I'm doing kind of a breakdown of these. Now these are supposed to be kind of your standard Allen Edmonds build. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. They're just the 100th anniversary in that burnt color, or hickory color. So it's got that kind of burnt patina look to it almost. Oh man. Don't want to damage that heel block from the get-go or anything. But since we're putting on JR soles, I am probably just gonna replace them anyways for this gentleman. But I always like to be a little more on the cautious side and try to cause as little damage as possible. You never know. Cobblers are always saving things like this, so. Alright. Standard heel blocks. Now, one thing I'm going to point out, and we're going to test out with these. Let's see how well the heel blocks stack up. So let me take off the other one and see what's going on. So this is the right one here. Slap that over there. I'll take off the other one real quick. There is one thing with Allen Edmonds that is very, very commonly seen, and it's a bit of a mishap constantly. Their heel blocks don't match up in size between the left and right one, which is kind of funny. So we'll see on these ones. Alright, I didn't really take off the other one, but yeah, they match up fairly close. Just a little bit of odds and ends here and there. Like on the left foot, it does stick out just a little bit more right here on that edge. Let me see if I can show you guys. But try to realign it right there. Don't know if you guys can see that lip there, but it sticks out just a little bit on that left foot, and that's kind of it there, honestly. Just ever so slightly. You can see that lip sticking out right here, but every now and then you get ones that are actually way off. Like you could end up having that much of a gap sometimes between the two heel blocks, and it's been kind of a funny thing that a lot of us laugh about. Obviously we can replace the heel bases and get them to work better and stuff. There's no way of putting an extension onto the one that's short. We can shorten up the one that's long, but the better thing is to just have them swapped out. So let me take apart this one again, finish taking it apart, and we'll continue on. The struggle of brand new shoes. The adhesive is still good on here. When they're usually used, it's a little bit easier actually, because the adhesive is kind of broke down. There's some areas that start coming unglued, but a brand new pair, it's no fun. So I'm having to go through with the heel pry and kind of separate the sole from the welt before I start cutting into everything. And yeah, it definitely takes a little more work, and you have to be careful. Obviously you can see how my hand slides off, and I don't want to damage the uppers, and I can't use any kind of solvents on these obviously because they've got that patina on them, that kind of burnt gingery looking patina and everything. That will get damaged significantly as soon as I put some solvent on them. And so that's the downside of a unused and unworn pair. Cobblers don't get too excited about brand new pairs unless we're just adding like sole protectors or switching out heels. Heels are easy. The soles, a little bit harder. Okay, gone around the whole thing. Sorry, I got a little bit of the sniffles right now. Okay, now I can get in there and start separating the sole. The other thing is that the cork internally is also sticking quite a bit. It's kind of sticky, and so when I go in with the knife, I just wanted to do kind of the same thing. It sticks too much to even the knife. Ooh, the knife kind of slipped off and got my shirt a little bit. No cuts or anything, thankfully, but new soles. I gotta tell you. Alright, so we've got the sole off. Nothing too crazy underneath here. We got that wooden shank in here. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this guy out. So we're gonna go ahead and pull out all the cork and everything. It's like the shank is a little off in the wrong position, honestly. But oh man, I hate this glue. It's always a problem. Like right now, it's kind of hard. It's a little sticky, but the top is sticky because of the cork. But it's just a tad bit sticky here. This glue eventually breaks down, becomes very tacky and very sticky and everything. And I think in combination with the cork, it becomes a little problematic. But if you're gonna start complaining and saying, "Why are you tearing out the cork?" Well, one of the reasons with Allen Edmonds I tear out the cork is they use what's called a hot cork method, meaning they squirt some hot cork that's kind of melted and stuff in here, and then they use an iron and iron it out and everything like that. Now the problem is that sometimes because of that, they either have too much cork in there and they like compress it, or not enough cork, and so the density of it is a little wonky. Sometimes it's just a little too hard in certain areas, which actually this one is. I'll show you in just a second. Oh, I don't think even the camera will be able to show it, but all right. So this outer edge is one thickness. The center, however, is definitely thicker right here by a lot. Like, look at that side versus this side. So even the sides here are a little bit different. Let me see if I can make this more of a straight line for you guys so you can see it a little better. And then we'll chop this side off for you. Look at that. Look at that difference. One side has a whole bunch of cork, another side has very little cork. This is still okay here, and so is this. It's just a matter of if for this shoe, which one does it need? Does it need more thick cork and a thick layer of cork, or a thinner layer of cork in there? And with the cork pieces that we use, which are, here's a chunk of it, but it's already a predetermined thickness and density, and it's not going to change, you know, anything. Where these cork pieces, because they have been heated, they have a tendency to, when they get pressed down with that iron, they can compress, and then once they put on the sole and everything like that, they don't sand this out. They don't smooth it out or anything with a sander. They just iron it out, and then they put the sole and everything on there, so that sole kind of seals up this unevenness. I mean, you can even see a little bit here. Now you can definitely have a little bit of unevenness, but this is kind of a lot, honestly. So I wanted to point that out. This is one of the reasons why we're taking out the cork and we're replacing it with our cork instead. That hot cork method, it's great stuff, but for manufacturing purposes, it's only great stuff. For repairs, it's not worth it. The machine's not worth having. And on top of that, you come across those kind of problems like I just showed you with thickness and density, unevenness, basically. I've had people complain where their shoes, they've had dozens of Allen Edmonds pairs of shoes, but they get one pair that's just uncomfortable. They've worn it for months and it hasn't broken in or anything, and that's the reason. Either there's too much cork or not enough cork. or it's uneven. And so that is a lot of times one of the major issues, is the cork amount and quantity in here. So let me get the other one broken down. Everything's going to come out. Everything in here all looks the same. No idea what it says right there. 65 something. Let's see. Looks like 9.5 D. Yeah, so it's just the size of the footbeds and stuff, and the last and everything. So that's pretty cool still. But yep, I'll continue on and we'll see you back in a few. Oh, and this shank, we are gonna save the wooden shank. I do like wooden shanks, so I'll be honest, I do like them. They're nice. There is that chance that they'll eventually snap. I'm gonna realign this one, put it in the proper position, because it was positioned right about here. See how uneven that is and how it's like in a weird spot? It should sit a little more like this right here, just a little bit, you know, readjusting there. But that's another reason why I'm taking out that shank. Sometimes I try to avoid taking out the shank because I don't want to snap it. Other times it's better if I do, and in this case it was definitely a better idea. If the other one that I take apart, if the shank is in a completely different position, I'll definitely show you guys as well. Alright everyone, so here's the other one taken apart and everything, and yeah, you can see this one's a little bit in a better position as far as the shank goes. It's a little more even, it's not butted up right against the back edge and everything. So this is actually, so it's not a bad thing, but it's also not a great thing either. We see it in shoes of any price range caliber where the shank can be off just a little bit. We see it in Western boots, we see it in dress shoes. Doesn't matter what it is, but I want to just kind of point that out, that's one of the reasons why I tore out the other one. See, this one's in a good position, but because I'm cleaning out the cork anyways, still need to get this one out as well. Now, the cork on this foot does seem to be a little more even. I mean, there's a few little spots that are slightly thin here and there, but yeah, that other shoe was a little bit worse when it came to that cork and everything. Now, yes, I know some of you might say in the comments, well, the cork can be, you know, shifted around after some wear, and yes, that is technically true, but this cork, the hot cork that they use, that uses so much of a binding agent in there that's kind of rubberized, it doesn't allow much room for shifting. Now, leaving an impression, yes, but shifting, not too much. So sometimes it may be actually good for some people, because every foot is different, that you have a little bit more cork in one area than you do another foot, and it just feels a lot better and more comfortable for you. I don't know, because every foot is different, but I'm just pointing out that there is some things that are a little off when it comes to hot corking. And it's not just this brand, it's every brand that does hot cork. It's unpredictable. You can't guarantee a consistency ever. There's no way to guarantee it. So I'll just continue on with this one, taking it apart and everything and stuff, and yeah, let's keep going. Alright, so I've got all the cork filled in here and everything. The shanks are in position nicely and all that, all glued up, and cut out the sole so that's kind of traced a little better around the shoe itself. Ooh, this thing's hot. Just so that the JR logo is centered, and got our logo on there too. Took me a little bit to find that logo, just because we got them moving and things are still all over the place. So all right, there we go. Now it's a matter of patience with curing. I'm going to stick this all under the press and continue going. Alright everyone, so obviously as you can tell I've done a little extra stuff, kind of just went through the motions and stuff. So I'll start out kind of just a regular number 100 here on both shoes for the 100th anniversary and everything. I did darken up the edges just ever so slightly with I think it was medium brown actually, and as you can tell did orange stitching there all the way to here, but then right here I did a switch off. This is kind of the first time for a switch off like that. There's no structural weakness or anything like that here. It's just a switch off of just the bobbin and everything, and it kind of connects nicely to the original stitch right down in here. So the bottom stitch I never stopped, actually I kept it going the whole time, while the bobbin up top here I did switch off to the blue here. Blue is going to kind of pop just a little bit right here on the inside edge and stuff. I thought it'd be kind of cool for these especially, and obviously we're here in Colorado, you know, Broncos colors, gotta do that a little bit. I got the toe plates on. I've got the leather stacked heel bases picked out for these, so I'm gonna go ahead and get those glued up, make sure that they're evened out first and everything, and then put them together, and then we'll move on to the heels. Alright everyone, so got them all finished out here. The owner of these 100th anniversaries is actually here today. Brought some goodies for us too, so there we go. Time to take some photos. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Definitely follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and here on YouTube as well for any other. But if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Definitely make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell icon to be notified when we got other cool projects coming up, because we definitely have quite a few of those lined up right now. And we'll see you next time.